Thank you for joining another episode of Urbanise Talks. Today we have Pophi with us from Think and Feel Right. Pophi, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I think let's start off by letting everybody know what first drew you into the world of tech.
Wow. If I tell you that technology was never in my mind,
Right.
I didn't want to be in tech. When I was growing up, I always wanted to be a social worker or a tech. So how I became in the field of tech, I would say is the influence of my parents. Because when I was done with school, IT was the thing, and they advised me to do it. And of course, we pay the fees. So you pay the bill. You have to do it. I had to do it. And the funny part is I was good at that. And in high school, I struck a lot with maths. So with information technology and computer science, there is a bit of maths there. I was doing well. So yeah, that's how yeah.
How did you decide teaching? What made you think of teaching and social work? Because I always, when I think to teaching and social work, I think that's a calling. It's not just a 9 to 5 role. Because I mean teachers are known for affecting either positively or negatively their students. And when you think of counseling, we think of either somebody that's really invested in the community and stuff like that. So, what attracted you to teaching and counseling?
I think by that time I was too young to even know what social worker means.
Yeah.
Teaching, you see teachers. And it's very funny that my mom was not even in that field. Like no one really was that in that field the way I would say I want to be like them or anything. It's just something that I just like admire. I just like helping people. And I just looked at it, I felt like this is cool.
And how did you decide that you wanted to? When did you first decide, rather, that you wanted to step away from tech?
Well, I went a long route with tech. After my studies, I went to Cape Town. I did my national certification and class A class and Cisco Essentials. And we saw Windows 7 fundamentals. So while I was busy with servers, because I used to work as a system and network administrator, by the grace of God, I think I started working when I was 19. Like right after school, then I went deep into the industry. So I, it's just that like it became like every day when I go to work, it just feel like this is not me. Like something inside me was not fulfilling me. Like I was not fulfilled. And I used to work with computers a lot, fixing them. And it was just every day you're just going there. You're
I think the monotony of it, you felt like you were not adding value.
yeah, because I like working with people. I like being around people. So going there, I just felt like inside me something was empty. Yeah, because I would spend the whole day with computers.
And I think it's so important for the viewers to also understand when you choose a career, it must fulfill you, because that's what allows you to get up in the mornings where you don't feel like getting up. And I think you spoke to that really nicely to say that sometimes we spend 10 or 20 years in a career before we realize it. Sometimes we let it go unnecessarily too long to realize, listen, I'm not being fulfilled. I just don't want to get up to go there on a Monday morning, and I just can't face that environment again because it's just become something that we just do for a paycheck at the end of the day instead of doing something that fulfills us. And I think the misconception is if you're doing something that fulfills you, you don't get paid for it. I think your story is quite different because you can do something that fulfills you, and be remunerated for it. What need or gap did you see that inspired you to start Think and Feel Right? And tell us a little bit about Think and Feel Right.
Oh, wow. I think we can do that come a very long way. When I was still in the college, I used to have like 10 groups of ladies that I used to mentor, we pray, but I didn't think anything of it. Then 2015, I had the same group, not necessarily same people, but the same thing where we used to meet like once a month and bring and share. We used to like discuss as ladies, and then to moving forward, 2017, that is the year also I left my job. And it's very funny because I left my job just after being promoted and getting more money and stuff. So then I remember I was working and the Holy Spirit said to me, um, it's either like I have to choose between money and serving Him. And it was that at that moment where I really had to make a decision.
And I think you said something very key there. You said even though the title came and the promotion came, it still wasn't fulfilling. And the misconception is if I have a certain position, if I have a certain title, if I have a certain, uh, corner office, then I can live with everything else. And if you're not fulfilled in what you're doing, and if it's not providing meaning and you're not adding value and making a difference to that community that you serve, the title is not going to help you there. You're still going to be unfulfilled. Uh, tell me a little bit about what has been your toughest challenge. And I think before we go to that, maybe just tell us a little bit about Think and Feel Right.
Well, Think Infrared, it's a non-profit organization that we work with health and education. So in education, we try to do skills development and we also career exhibition that we have it in a yearly basis. This year we're going to have our fifth annual career exhibition, and we also help students with choosing, like as I explained, the careers and things like that. And we also try to match them with companies, those who are looking for jobs. And also we do considering mental health. That is a part of the health parts where we do mental health counselings, and we have awareness, your GBV. Yes.
So tell me, in which province do you serve?
We are in Limpopo, but we don't really serve people in Limpopo only. But we serve you wherever you are.
Oh, can you tell people how to get a hold of you? On
Um,
website address, email address?
our website is Think and Free Rights. Yes, but at thinkandfreeright.org. And then the email is admin@thinkandfreeright.org.
Okay. And where is this year's career fair happening? So if anybody wants to become part of your stakeholder group, they can.
It's happening on the 23rd of April 2026. It's happening in the village called Chifubi, the stadium. We use the stadium because we host like 2,000 students. So yeah, if you want to be part of us, you can email us. You can even call us for more information.
And the email address is?
It's admin@thinkandfreeright.org.
To my previous question, what has been the toughest challenge you faced as a nonprofit organization?
Uh, I think there's a myth with non-profit organization where people think that when you start or when you have a non-profit organization, you need funding immediately. You have funds. And when people see you working, they think someone is funding you some way, which it's not really true. We've been existing for the past 9 years without really having funds. So I think the toughest and challenging it's resources. Okay. getting resources. And obviously, you can't just sit and say you're waiting for the day that you you're getting to get resources. Yes, you have to move.
You have to keep going. Yes, day to day. Yeah, day to day. I mean, you've been doing this now for 8 years. The center is open for 8 years, and it shows what discipline and commitment can do for you if you have to do it every single day.
But if I tell you I quit every day, not every day, every year in my mind, you think I'm lying. Like there are days where I'm like, why? I'm educated. Why am I doing this? Why am I going through this? And one thing that keeps me going is I remember the reason why I'm doing it and the impact that it's doing in the communities where like, especially with the care exhibition, and the circuit that we work with this year, and it went up with 2%. Okay, it's awesome. And it has been going up every year since we partnered with them.
It has a steady growth.
Yes. So that keeps me going. It keeps me moving. It's not an easy thing to run, especially when you don't really have resources. It also teaches you to be creative.
Yep.
That
And I think also to have resilience, And like you said, in life, I think it's so much like in business, where there is days that you want to quit. But I think where mastery is built is when you get up, dress up, and show up with a positive attitude every single day, even when you don't feel like doing it. And I think that's really what you proved. Tell me if you could bring one principle or practice from tech into uh, currently your role at Think and Feel Right, what would that be?
whew, tech. Low key, I feel like I've never left it. Yeah, because I'm really grateful that I started in that fast because I do my own posters. At some point, I even created my own websites. Yeah. And like anything technical for our organization, I do them. And when I look at that, and I think that is an expense that it will cut off. It's so expensive out there to say, hey, can you get me a poster? They'll tell you like 300 rand. Yeah. And now, because I know that that thing can take 2 minutes, then I do it myself. I don't have to go out and source certain things, especially when it comes to technology. So technology is there, like it's still all there for, for everything. And also structure where I'm able to build a system like Excel program to say, okay, this is how we're going to do things. This is how we're going to file our thing. And so it's really there. I think it will never go. But I'm looking at CRM now to get a space where all of us as an organization will be working together. So that can cost an arm and leg. But now it should just cost me time to sit and lay.
Because you've had experience in this. Yes. And I think what's so key about what you mentioned now is that you can do a career and you can take the learning and the discipline and the direction, and then you can implement it in other areas of your life. So key then doesn't just limit you. And some of us think, well, if I want to be a lawyer, for example, that's really all I have to do. But you could pivot. And in the different segments, you would have learned something about yourself and your trade, so to speak, if you do that. What advice would you give someone who feels called to pivot in their field?
I would say sometimes just get up and do it.
Yeah. Because if I'm being paid now currently, being remunerated, and I'm afraid if I want to like wait and start into a non-profit, there'll be no funding, and I have to leave that stability. How would you advise them to go ahead?
Okay. I'm a Christian, I'm born again, and what I've learned from my story is that God will call you and provision everything for you. And if it's your calling, there's a provision.
Provide for that.
Yes. For me, when I secrets, I feel that I don't have a child. I don't have big beards. Yes. That they are behind me because one will say, no, I'm cold, but I've got 1, 2, 3 heads that I need to look after. So with me, I don't have that. I don't have that then. And also, I don't really have a blood text where, like, it's understandable that some they go to school and then when they finish, they are forced to work so that they need to look after their parents, siblings, and in that. So for me, I was fortunate enough, I didn't have that. So it was just me alone that I need to look after. So which it made me to reduce my lifestyle. Yeah.
But it was also planning that helped you to do that. You didn't rack up a lot of debt because you got paid, a good salary. You were prudent enough to free up your resources, and to make room. You also said something about, I just had myself to take care of. That means at some point, if you want to move into something new, you have to prepare and make room to move into something new, responsibly so. You have to be able to downsize. You have to be able to change your thinking. Because I think sometimes a lot of us we limit our own thinking. We limit our own uh, uh, potential, just by thinking we cannot. And if you feel you cannot, and if you believe you cannot, you will not. So I think what you did is you made room, uh, and you prepared yourself for being able to downscale. And you didn't see it as something that, what would people say? Or because some people can't let go of the persona that they portray on the outside. And sometimes you need to be able to do that in order to go to where God is calling you to go. And I think that's important to note.
I think also like God works in you at some point. See what else do you? Yeah, I saw it was because it took 2 years for him to communicate with me and for me to make peace with the fact that now I need to move from Cape Town to go back home in Benda full time. And as you said, that like some people don't want to go dwell with the person now because it was like coming back without a car, without like nothing to show that all these years I watch and I study and I'm very clear is like to be with. Somehow, like I mean, it was not really a challenge, and also just to go back, while leaving something, let's say, like you work for a calling, you must have a plan. You must look at the bigger picture. Or the why. The bigger picture is the one that would move you. Instead of like when you feel like quitting when challenges are hard, but when you look at the plan and the bigger picture and the why, then it will help you to move. And you must be 100% sure that it's you've been called for this and you will put to work. Even though you have bills and everything, then you need to put a period, like say for the next 3 months, this I need to push and chase up to this far. I need to make ways to make money. Like us, as I said that this thing it also teaches you to be creative. Like us, we realize that it's been years we don't really have funds. No one is funding us, and we've got monthly bills. It's your run rate goes in advance, and the thing for the email, we need to pay for that in a multi base. We need to pay for that account. So then we come up with an idea that, you know what, let's collect clothes. Yes, let's collect clothes. People have a lot of clothes in their houses. So let's collect clothes, and then with the same clothes, let's go to the community that we are helping and sell them. The most expensive clothes that we have is 30 rand. And it's like we are also giving away in that community where you're serving there. And yes, and also when someone buys something, it also gives them that dignity that I bought. Yes, I didn't just hear that as I read. And trust me, when the day that we go sell those things, when you see those ladies, they get excited. They We don't even put our clothes on the floor anymore. We put them in the chairs and we open the shop like section by section because they start from 5 rand. We say 5 rand is up now. Because why? They run to get them. They don't go one with no, they run and push each other so that they can grab whatever that they can grab.
And I think what you said was so important. You said work. And people can, work. You've got to work. You've got to work. You've got to be disciplined. Nothing just falls into your lap, or nothing worth having rather just falls into your lap just by the way. So we all have to work, and sometimes, a lot of the times, you have to talk yourself into working and giving off your best, because you may not feel like it, but you have to talk yourself into working. Tell me a little bit about what's your vision to where Think and Feel Like is going for the next 5 years.
The vision is to have like a multi-purpose center. In that multi-purpose center, we want talent to be discovered. We want skills development to happen. We also want to have like a shelter, a safe space shelter where emotional needs are met and also counseling if needed. And with talent to be discovered, I'm talking about we will have like rare sports there because I believe that we've got young talented stars and we see like we have youngsters where they are very good swimmers. Yep. But because that is not being nurturing, to them is just to go to a dam and here they start swimming as you find that like that person has skill. So we like our dreams to have that and get people from outside to kind of scout them, yeah, and mold them and then they can, because you've seen people who are very rich just because of swimming, playing tennis. One thing that is very famous is soccer. So we want to say, hey, there's more than that. If there's except soccer and netball, yeah, there's the chess playing, there's robotics, there's a lot of things that you can do.
That's awesome. If your younger self in tech would meet you today, what do you think she'd say? The 19-year-old.
I think she would say, well done, you did well. Because the tech is still there. Yes, and still maturing and going further. So yeah, I think she would be proud.
What is the one thing you'd like our listeners to take away from your story?
Never look down upon yourself. You can do anything if you believe in it and you believe in yourself.
Okay, that's key. I want to thank you for being with us today. And I wish you everything of the best. I know the center is going to grow from strength to strength. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And please like and share. Please subscribe to our channel. And please contact us on sales@urbanise.tech.